Hello, people of the internet, and mainly the vinyl community. I've been watching a lot of the vinyl tag of 2025, and yeah, looks fun. So I thought I would do one myself. I've been watching a lot of different channels, and it's fun to see everyone's different picks and genres and taste and all that. So yeah, here we go. Number 1, best purchase of 2024, new or old. This is an old album. It's from 1994 and it's their debut album. It's the group Artifacts, the album Between a Rock and a Hard Place. In my opinion, the best hip-hop album. But that's just my opinion. Pretty underground. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, and I love it. Track 3 on the A side, wrong side of the tracks, is absolutely my favorite on here. But every song is banger. So yeah, this is one of the first records I thought of when I started my vinyl collection. I always loved this album, and it's just one of those albums that feels right to play on vinyl. And this is an first US press of this, and it feels cool to have one. I'm not an hardcore collector that only collects first pressings of everything, but if I find one of an album I like, why not? So yeah, Artifacts, Between a Rock and a Hard Place. Question number 2, 50 years later, best album from 1974. And this is the band's second album. In my opinion, is tied with the debut album, which also is a banger, but yeah, I like this one too. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Second Helping. My favorite track on here is probably The Ballad of Curtis Lowe. Yeah. Sweet Home Alabama is the first song on this album, also good, but I'm maybe a little tired of it. But The Ballad of Curtis Lowe, banger. So, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Second Helping. Question number 3, an album that defines a genre. This is the most obvious pick, for me at least. This is their second album from 1991, Nevermind by Nirvana. Banger also, really cool. But I'm sure you all know about Nirvana. And yeah, this is my homemade censor also. We all know how the album looks. Question number 4, best band from your home country. And if you haven't noticed yet about my weird accent, I'm actually from Sweden, and this is, in my opinion, the best band from Sweden. This is November, Any Tid Är Det Här. killer album. I absolutely love it. A while ago I didn't believe there was any good music from Sweden, at least that I liked. And yeah, I started to discover music like this thanks to the vinyl community on YouTube, recommendations and all that, and I was amazed that Sweden could make music like this. This is from the 1970s, and I think they're considered one of the first Swedish hard rock groups. It's not very hard, bit psych, really nice. Every song is cool on here. I love them. Especially number 3 on the A-side, Lek att du är barn igen. Really good song. I love it. Maybe a bit weird for you people that's not from Sweden, but I've seen people liking this, even though. Number 5, an artist you miss dearly. This guy is the first I thought about. Obviously, there's a lot of artists that are missed. But this is one of 2 that really affected me most. They didn't pass long ago, so it's music I've always listened to, and yeah, they made a big impact on me, both of these singers. From Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, amazing vocalist. I love all of his work, can't say anything else. Passed in 2017 by unaliving himself. Tragic. Such amazing artist. And it's kind of an eye-opener that no matter how successful you are, you can still be unhappy. Very tragic. And the second, also a singer, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. Also a band I grew up with. I listened to their music forever. And yeah, also passed in 2017, just a couple of months after Chris Cornell. By unaliving himself also. Same thing there, really tragic. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to this album as well. Otherwise I try to mix up with new artists. Number 6, best live album in your collection. Back to the grunge era. I like all the MTV Unplugged sessions from all the grunge bands, I guess, and other bands, but yeah, this is Pearl Jam MTV Unplugged from 1992. This is the 2019 Record Store reissue. He's singing his heart out, Eddie Vedder, also an amazing vocalist. And yeah, the only band from the Seattle Big Four grunge bands that are still here today with the original members. I think every one of them at least. Eddie Vedder, original singer. Kinda crazy. Number 7. Your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? So, back to this album. Linkin Park, Meteora. This is what I put on, really angry, sad, emotional record. Perfect music to just get your emotions out, I guess. Hopefully that doesn't happen. It's from 2003. I was 9 at the moment when this came out. My buddy bought it on CD and was like, come over here, you have to hear this. This is amazing. And yeah, this album shaped my music taste from there. This is the start. Question 8. Best sounding drums on an album. And I'm not an audiophile at all. It's not very important. I want the music to sound good, obviously, but I don't care about the exact sound of instruments and all that, where the people are in the room and stuff like that. I enjoy the music as long as the recording isn't too shit. And I went with an album that I just is amazed of the drumming altogether, and it's Danny Carey from Tool. This is the album Lateralis from 2001, their third album, and this is a 2015 bootleg. It's on this cool blue vinyl instead of the picture disc. I think the only official pressings of these are on the picture disc, and I've heard that the sound of those isn't too good. This is a bootleg. Maybe the sound isn't perfect on it either, but it's good enough. Good music, amazing drumming, mind-blowing drumming. I don't know how he does it. Pretty crazy. Number 9, favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. This is the guitarist. I love the playfulness of his playing. He's pretty amazing on it, and he's in these 2 bands that you probably heard of, I hope. Rage Against the Machine, and later on Audioslave. Yeah, Tom Morello, amazing guitar player, and really stands out on the Rage Against the Machine album, at least. Both albums. He's really cool. One of the biggest guitar players, I would guess. One of the most creative, at least. Number 10, Beatles or Stones. The big one. The question that starts fights and ruin relationships and friendships and make the internet go crazy. Yeah, obviously Beatles, one of the biggest, most impactful bands of all time. They aren't really comparable in my world, I think. And to be honest, I'm not really a huge fan of any of them. I respect both bands. Probably 2 of the most famous bands ever. And yeah, I went with the Stones. The reasoning of that is I took my favorite song from the Beatles and my favorite song from the Stones, and I probably like the Stones more. It's the Paint It Black, amazing track, I love it, which comes on the album Aftermath from 1966. As some of you may know, Paint It Black only came on the US version of Aftermath for some reason. They instead went with Mother's Little Helper on the European version instead of Paint It Black. It's also a great song, but yeah, kind of annoying. I didn't know that when I bought the album at first. But I think this is the first European press that Paint It Black came on. High Tide and Green Grass. My favorite track from the Beatles are Helter Skelter, also amazing track. But I think I heard the Stones first, and it was the introduction to the Stones and later the Beatles. You found a bag of weed, what are you going to listen to? And this is the first record I thought of. Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love. Incredible album, I love this. This is so cool. But I think, I don't know about them all, but this and a couple of other pressings, the sound quality is a little but still great. I love to listen to this album anyways. It's what I would think you would listen to if you found a bag of weed. It's really slow, a bit trippy, not too far out there. Just enough, and just good vibes. Good vibes all the way through. Amazing songs. And I just love Donald Glover as an artist overall. He's really cool, funny dude. Number 12, an album from the 1980s you still listen to. And I was not even thought of by my parents in the 1980s. I'm born in the 90s. But I'm gonna go with an album from the 80s that I love. I love this since I heard it the first time, and it's a pretty big album. Very influential and important, politically important. This is Straight Outta Compton of NWA. Hugely impactful when it came out. And if you haven't seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, I would really recommend it. Killer movie, killer record. I love it. Very important for hip hop. Number 13, an artist whose political stance has soured you. I don't really care or even know about what political stance my favorite artists have. But one artist that I heard a lot of recently, not really political, just an overall terrible, disgusting person, P. Diddy. Yeah, nothing else needs to be said. Straight douchebag. F that guy. Number 14, show a favorite record label. Put away that record. Everyone loves the Vertigo Swirl, right? And this is the first label that really catched my eye when I started collecting, and I saw this really cool, and yeah, I like this more than the Swirl. It's the UFO label. Really cool. And a little Vertigo Swirl here, so I guess double combo good label. Number 15, a run of 3 great singles. And this is one of my favorite albums ever. As I said, I love grunge, and this is their second album from 1992. Alice in Chains, the album Dirt. Amazing album, I love this all the way through. And the 3 singles, Down in a Hole, Rooster and Wood. some of my favorite songs, and I hope you all have heard this album. All the early albums with Layne Staley as a singer, absolutely amazing. Also a missed artist. Very tragic how he passed and that he passed. Yeah. Number 16, a RSD purchase that you actually consistently listen to. This is the band's second album from 1970, and the Record Store Day release from 2024. Paranoid by Black Sabbath. You can't not love this album. Any of the four first at least. So I have to change this inner because it's just paper. I don't like that, but it's on this. Pretty cool. I'm not really collecting the different color variants, but this one was pretty eye-catching. I like it. You can be reincarnated as any artist, dead or alive. Who is it going to be? I wouldn't really want to be a famous artist. It has to be really annoying that everyone knows about you, and maybe like paparazzi going after you and all that. But yeah, if I have to choose one, I choose Jimi Hendrix. Just a cool dude. How can you not love Jimi Hendrix? One of the most influential guitar players ever. Just the feelings, you know, he creates with his music. Absolutely love it. Number 18, best 3 lines in a song. And this was the first one that came to mind. I love this band. Their music is pretty loaded, pretty serious, you know. And they have some fun songs between all the seriousness. Yeah, what about the 3 lines? Is there a perfect way of holding you, baby? Vicinity of obscenity in your eyes. Terracotta, terracotta, terracotta pie. Maybe some of you recognize those lines from Hypnotize of System of a Down. Terracotta banana pie, he sings about, if I remember correctly. An album you never tire of. And this is my absolute favorite band of all time. I love pretty much all of their albums. This is the band's 3rd album from 1995, but this is the 2012 reissue. The album Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness from Smashing Pumpkins. It's an 5 LP album with a little booklet in here, I think. Really cool. Yeah, my favorite song on here is Zero, but there's a lot of killer songs on here. Last question, number 20. Share your favorite vinyl community channel. It's impossible to answer, but one channel that I find a time ago, and I watched all his videos. He seems very authentic. He finds a lot of records out in the wild. That's crazy records. I never find anything good, but the records he finds, it's absolute killer. I'm so jealous. Yeah, the channel name is Soaring Vinyl. His and my music taste crossover, really good. And yeah, I like his channel. Really down to earth, cool dude. So yeah, I hope you didn't get too dizzy about my spinning here in the chair. I'm a bit uncomfortable in front of the camera. Yeah, time to get some new warm coffee. Ooh. Yeah, let's listen to some good music and make some amazing finds. Best wishes. Have a great 2025. Bye.